to this Disal webinar in partnership with Pearson. We're proud to bring to you relevant content today, talking about this important issue that we hope can be relevant for your day-to-day classes. So thank you all for coming. It's good to see you all. You seem to be a lovely crowd. I'm just sorry I cannot see your faces, but I don't know if it's very fortunate for you that you can see mine, but it's a pleasure to be with you this evening to talk about teaching from the real world using authentic videos in classroom. Please forgive me if I cough, as I've got a little cold this week, and I guess it's time for us to get started. But before we start, and we are going to use the chat quite a bit, and I hope you can talk to me too. I'm going to say hi to everyone, and I'd like to know where you are from. Can you please tell me? Can you please chat me and tell me where you're from? I can see someone from, wow, Americana, Vitória, Espírito Santo, and Porto Alegre, Jundiaí, São Bernardo, Itápolis, Clebiane, my dear friend, Barreto, São José dos Campos. Wow, I think Manaus is probably the winner as the furthest person to connect today. Divinópolis, I've been there already, and Belo Horizonte, where I lived for a while. And it's a great pleasure. Thank you very much for typing and telling me where you are from. Natal, beautiful Natal and Teófilo Otoni. Wow, it's beautiful to see the reach these webinars have and the opportunity we have to connect, to stay together, even though not physically, but at least online, we are together. And we'll be together for the next hour talking about teaching from the real world, using authentic videos in class. And one thing I was afraid when I had to talk about this topic was that you would think, all right, here we go, talking about video again, same old, nothing new, the same old idea. And I was really afraid that would happen. And some things came to my mind. First thing was that we learn by repetition, right? There is great learning in repetition. Second thought was that we are, as a teacher community, we are all part of this community, and we are in different stages in our professional lives. So this might be a topic that's familiar to most of you, but some of you may struggle somehow with it. And the idea is that this can be a profitable conversation to all of us. So we're not going to talk about rocket science. It's not math or science, which is completely unexplainable to me. We're going to talk about something that might be familiar to you, but we hope to bring you a new look, a different insight. So to start, I would like to give you our agenda. And these are the steps we're going to follow. I'm glad we're going to talk about Lucia Medeiros' dissertation, who's studying the use of Netflix with Reading to Learn, and she's very excited. I'm glad to know that. I didn't know when I thought about the topic. And this is our agenda. We're going to talk about videos nowadays, what they mean in the real world, reasons for using them. Then we're going to move on to talk about how to choose and six things to consider when choosing a video. Then I hope to offer you some ideas for using videos. And later, we're going to conclude with some video samples and teaching tips to help you on your work. So to start with, as promised, a quiz. Yay, quiz time. So to start, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do, okay? I want your active participation through the chat. And as I show you a statement, whoa, wait, we just have someone from Melbourne, Australia. Welcome, Mara Heifman. It's good to have you. And right now we have just reached participant number 51, a good idea. And Mara, welcome. So I'm going to show you some statements. And I want you to show here, if you totally agree with them, just write, totally agree. Or maybe just TA, to make it easier, okay? If you don't agree, by the way, if you totally disagree, I would like you to type TD here on the chat, okay? So TA or TD, if you only agree, you just say A. If you disagree, you say D. And if you don't know, just use the 3 most important letters in the alphabet. IDK, which means I don't know. Okay? So our code will be TD, TA, AD, IDK, right? Totally agree, totally disagree, agree, disagree, and IDK, right? So this webinar is being recorded, so if you can't watch the whole thing, you can watch it later. Do not worry. So do you get our code? Is everything right? Can we start the quiz? It's the $1 million quiz, okay? So statement number 1. And if you agree, you know what to do. If you disagree, you know what to do. If you just don't know, tell me that, no problem. Be honest, okay? Open your hearts. First question, first statement. I feel uncomfortable using authentic videos because I often feel they are too difficult for my students. Oh, some people totally agree with that. Wow, it's wonderful to see your responses, guys. I see a mix of answers. Some people who do not agree, people who disagree. Daniela totally disagrees. Glacy disagrees as well. Some people partially agree. Yes, I should have included that in our code. But okay, thank you very much for your answers. There's no right or wrong, okay? I just want to know what you think. So, by the way, I do not really agree, but I might agree that can be the case. Some videos might be too difficult for our students, so that's why we're going to talk about how to choose them carefully and appropriately, okay? Now, question number 2, statement number 2. I would love to use more authentic videos, but I guess they are too difficult to find. So what do you think? Many people agree, others partially agree, some people totally disagree. Wow, it's wonderful to see your variety of answers. I can see a little bit of everything, but there seems to be dominant that people disagree. I think most people disagree with that. Most people think they're easy to find. And I'll give you that. I assume that's because of YouTube and Netflix and the amount of video we have nowadays. Okay, someone who partially agrees with that. Subtitles might be a little bit more picky, difficult to find. Parts of videos, that's right. There are just short extracts. Very good. Thank you very much. Now, statement number 3. I guess watching films in class is a waste of time, and teachers usually do it only because they do not have anything better to do. Well, there's a huge crowd disagreeing with that. Some people really totally disagree. Most people totally disagree with that. I know, guys, this is a provocation, right? I know I'm teasing you. I know you wouldn't say something like that against videos. Most people are favorable to them. Giovanna is laughing out loud. She's probably rolling and laughing out loud now. Some people partially agree, yes, partially agree. I would understand that can be done as a waste of time if we're not careful. Don't you think that can be a waste of time? Well, statement number 4. We've just gone through a week like that. I guess watching a full movie would be the ideal activity for spare time, like Semana do Saco Cheio. You need to ask yourself why. Okay. Embromation, as Fabiana says. I agree. Someone from Maceió joining. Thank you and welcome. Right. Most people, what the? I'm sorry, Christina. It's another, I'm teasing you again, but most people disagree. They don't want to show a full movie. Can you imagine showing perhaps the Matrix trilogy with 3 hours, right? Thank you, Christina. Right, so most people disagree. Okay, there must be an activity related to it. That seems to be the general understanding. And last but not least, statement number 5. Show it in parts. It's much better. Don't watch a full movie for your spare time. But anyway, here we go. Can you read question number 5 now? So, that's right. It's a good idea to let students watch some minutes of their chosen film or series at the end of every class. Okay, Melissa disagrees, some people agree, partially agree. Gotta be careful. Sandra just says, I don't know. I think it's the first I don't know I see. I thought there would be more, I don't know. Yeah, why not? Don't know. I can see there are mixed feelings about it, and we're going to discuss a little bit of that. When we use a video, I think there should be a purpose for that. For listening song. And then Carmen asks about every class. Yes, I know this is probably too much, but sentences and the statements have to be a little bit extreme or stereotypical in order to get your reactions. You see, Ines says in her school is impossible. In many cases you cannot. In some cases you can. So if the answer is up to you, if the decision is yours, would you or wouldn't you? Well, so moving on from our quiz now, which was very explanatory. Thank you very much for all your answers. I don't know if I would either, but thank you very much. And Lucia is writing her thesis on the use of Netflix. So she might be familiar with what we're going to talk about 2 giants that have changed the world. Listen, I'm not talking about changing videos. I'm talking about changing the world. Do you know which giants I'm talking about? Can you guess? Chun, 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 chun. Let's see. I don't know. Can you see the next slide? I hope you can't. Google and Amazon, YouTube, Internet, Netflix, YouTube. Whoa, some people are getting it right. Netflix and YouTube, maybe, yeah. Chances are high. These are 2 giants, right? Apple, Hulu. And the answer is, I know this is far from an attempt to talk about all phenomena in the video industry nowadays, okay? This is just, we have to select an extract, part of what's happening to talk about. Mariela mentions TED, and no, it's not TED. It's not Apple. It's not necessarily, no, it's not Hulu. But yes, it is Google, but through YouTube. And there you go. We're talking about Netflix and YouTube. And at this time, we're talking about videos in the real world. And they have changed the world, and they are shaping the future. I'm not saying they're shaping the future of the video industry. I'm saying they are shaping the future, our future. Lucia seems to be very excited we're talking about YouTube and Netflix. So I'd like to share with you some facts I found through research while I prepared for this webinar. And before that, I just would like to share a quote by Marshall McLuhan, something he said in the 1960s. I don't know if you can see the image in the televisions. I'm showing you here with the pencil, with the yellow pencil. Can you read what it says there? In case you can't, he says that the medium is the message. So what does it have to do with videos in the 21st century? This guy wrote in 1960, more than 50 years ago. And he was in marketing. So what does that have to do with us? Any guesses? Well, besides saying the medium is the message, Marshall McLuhan also said that we shape our tools, and then our tools shape us. That means that, well, that goes against what some people say, that there is no good or bad medium. There's no good or bad medium of instruction, because some people could speak against television, against internet. Other people would be in favor of television and internet. And many people would say that this is not a problem. It depends on how we use it. The most important thing is content. And what McLuhan said was that no. It's not the content that is important. It's the medium. The way you watch the content shapes you. It changes behavior. It changes you, and you become a different person. You start acting differently, and you start seeing different content and in different ways. So we think that it's just a matter of content, and then we choose the tool we want. But then that tool shapes us, and it changes the way we act. One example of that is when you type something you were searching on the Google search bar, right? You can see that Google completes it for you. And why does it do that? Have you noticed that your favorite websites are recorded in the computer through cookies? Everything is done to make our lives easier. And by doing that, internet companies seducing us so that our experience becomes more pleasant. And in this way, they seduce us so that we keep using their media over and over again. But now, let's go to some facts about YouTube first. Some statistics from this year. And I know there's a bunch of things there, but I would just like to go through them quite quickly. 1.3 billion users on YouTube, and more than 300 hours of video uploaded every minute. 5 billion videos watched every single day. Can you believe that? 30 million visits per day. And because most of our students are in this age group here, from 18 to 49, 8 out of 10 of our 18 to 49-year-old watch YouTube. Can you believe that's 8 out of 10? That's 80%. 6 out of 10 prefer online platforms to TV. That's more than half. So it's online video over TV. Every month, people watch 3.25 billion hours of content on YouTube. And there are more than 10,000 videos on YouTube that have more than 1 billion views. Can you believe that? It's too much. 80% of YouTube viewers outside the United States. I know this is a lot of interesting information. You can take a look at it later on. I don't want to go through every single piece of them. Yeah, many people don't watch movies on TV now, only YouTube. And how about Brazil? How does Brazil figure in this surveys? Right here, media traffic of Brazilian YouTubers, Brazilians who watch YouTube. 70 million Brazilians watch YouTube. 70 million people, making Brazil the second largest audience YouTube has in the whole world. Second only to the United States with 167 million users. Can you believe that? Brazil makes up for the second largest audience of YouTube users. That's unbelievable. So we are in their radar. They worry about us. Brazil's second position. And just if you, in our internet is so bad. Can you imagine if our internet was better? And Whindersson Nunes, for example, I don't know if you've heard of him, but the 12th most famous YouTuber in the world, the 12th person with the most subscribers, right after, believe it or not, Eminem. So a Brazilian from Piauí has more subscribers on YouTube than celebrity star Eminem. That's unbelievable. That's shocking. He has more subscribers than Eminem, than Shakira, and unbelievable, right? Whindersson Nunes, Google him or go to YouTube. If you want to know how well people do on YouTube, there is a tool you can use. I didn't quote anything from them here, but it's Social Blade. He is funny, a little bit, wacky sometimes, but funny. And he makes something around $4 million a year on YouTube. I'm saying $4 million a year with YouTube only, because his lectures cost about 160,000 reals. That's really mind-boggling. Now, move on a little bit to talk about Netflix, which just recently topped 100 million subscribers worldwide. 104 million. And this is fresh news. This is from The Guardian, something from an August edition of The Guardian. 104 million subscribers to Netflix, paying a monthly fee there. Something else, something interesting. Brazil, again, the second largest number of subscribers to Netflix, accounting for 7.1% in the world of the total users of Netflix, right behind the United States again, with 48.4 million percent of users. And this is another funny thing, that just recently Netflix started to have more viewers and subscribers outside the United States of America than inside the country. So Things and series. Do you recognize the boy here from Stranger Things? Yeah, some people saying that uses Stranger Things in the classroom. So this is the girl, I'm sorry. Looks like a boy. You can see I'm not a big fan of Stranger Things. I don't like horror suspense shows very much. Sorry about that. Sorry for being so stereotypical as me. But anyway, now something else. More news about Netflix. That UK viewers doubled amount of time spent on streaming TV in 2015. And the reason I mentioned 2015 is because it did not happen only in 2015. People double the amount of time they spend on streaming year after year. So it doubles every 2 years. Can you believe that? That's a lot. Netflix and Amazon will overtake the whole cinema box office spending by 2020. That means more people will spend money on Netflix and Amazon, only on the video streaming services, than all movies combined on cinema. Unbelievable. And third, this is very recent, Disney with plans to pull out all their content out of Netflix and Amazon to invest in its own streaming service. So this is a market that really matters, and Disney is looking after it, is running after it. So this is just so you know the impact of that. Another interesting fact, something that happened just recently in the first quarter of 2017, that finally Netflix have surpassed the number of subscribers from cable TV in the United States. So there are more subscribers to Netflix now than to cable TV, showing a clear trend. If you think about 5 years ago, cable TV users were more, or almost triple what they were for Netflix. So this is a lot. And another shocking piece of news that were shown on the recent Emmy, in which you can see year after year the progress Netflix has been making from 2013. In red, you have nominations, and in yellow, the number of wins. So it started with 10 nominations and 3 awards out of 13. And now, this year, Netflix got 91 nominations to the Emmy and won 20 awards. And we have all reasons to believe the same thing will happen with the Golden Globe, with the Academy Awards, the Oscars, and so on and so forth. So the cinema industry has changed. It has migrated into streaming with YouTube, with Netflix, sorry, and with online video watching through YouTube. Okay, so this is video nowadays. But what is the relationship of that with our students? What does that have to do with our students? Implications for them. Well, they are a much more visual generation. They watch a lot of videos, and they can see what they want. They don't need to wait anymore. And that means Mr. Harmer, Jeremy, whom you might know, right when he said that because students are used to watching so much video at home, and they associate that with relaxation, right? We need to be sure that we provide them with good viewing and listening tasks so that they can pay attention to what we're doing. So because they watch so many videos, the videos we show them gotta be interesting, high quality tasks, and very carefully designed activities, right? So thank you again, Mr. Harmer. This was a quote from The Practice of English Language Teaching, the Bible of English teaching, pretty much, right? Which is in its fifth edition. I don't know if you've seen, but it's really worth taking a look. Now let's move on to a second part in which we talk about reasons for using authentic videos in class. And I'm going to give you 6 reasons, but I'm going to start quoting from Penny a famous writer and teacher trainer who has retired and then gone back to activity and then retired, and she's always around. She's gracious and lovely. So, according to Penny some very important, uh, um, and here I would like to pause a little bit, because when we are talking about videos, we're talking about listening activities, right? So, okay, we're talking about videos, but in the end of the day, this is all about listening. She says something, and she was the first person to say that, I guess, in the 1990s, a long time ago. She said that it is fair to say that we are nearly always in the physical presence of or able to see the person or persons we're listening to. So when course books do listening activities with a CD, or you probably remember the time of the cassette tapes, if not as a teacher, at least as a student. I was a student who had a teacher playing cassette tapes in the classroom, so I remember that. And there's no visibility of the speaker. You can't see, there are no visual clues, and that's extremely important. And we have that in videos. Besides that, there's something else she says. She talks about environmental clues. And that means that besides the speaker himself, apart from the speaker himself, his facial expression, his posture, eye direction, proximity, gesture, tone of voice, etc., you name it. A real life listening situation is normally rich in environmental clues as to the content and implication of what is said. So it's not only what is said, it's also what surrounds what is said, the whole context, right? So everything matters, the whole context. Sound recordings, by its turn, broadcasts, telephone conversations, are relatively poor in such clues, but these normally comprise only a small part of our listening activity. So we do much more than recordings, broadcasting, and telephone conversations, right? We do much more than that in real life, and videos can help with that. But not only that, there's a little bit more. Besides that, videos are also fun, right? Motivating and relaxing. Some people are very visual, like Klebiani says, for example. She needs to see things. Videos can, therefore, prevent students from feeling bored. Do you agree? Oh, another class again, another time teachers talking about grammar. Oh, awful. But what if teacher uses a video to teach grammar, right? To present language in context, as Mara says, and Lucia agrees. So by using videos, we bring the real world to the classroom, showing language in use, showing context, and other cultural clues too. What do people wear in that place? What do they do? What do they eat? What do they do in their free time? It all depends on the video you select. And your video will contain all these clues. Exactly, Giovanna, diversity. And all these things will be present there according to the video you select. And if that's not enough, my dear friends, my dear fellow teachers, students love them, right? So if that's not enough reason to talk about using videos, students love them, and we need to give them that, right? So after all this introduction about why to use videos, about some reasons to use them. I would like to share with you some things that you might want to consider when using, when selecting videos for class. Okay? Thank you, Bruno. I'm very excited as well. Thank you very much for sharing the excitement with me. All right, so I'm not the only one. So to move on, let's now talk about things to consider when selecting authentic video materials, okay? And first of all, and most obvious perhaps, is be sure you have the correct level. Remember our initial quiz talk about, the first question was probably about, it was about how difficult it is to find material at the right level. That authentic material looks like difficult sometimes to our students, right? So be sure you select videos at the correct level so our students do not feel confused, right? Remember, and that requires watching the videos beforehand, not only for this reason, but for others I will share as well, right? So remember that according to Krashen, Stephen Krashen, this is certainly a name to research if you are interested in language acquisition, and I am, as a teacher and a teacher trainer. Stephen Krashen, he may be a little bit outdated nowadays, some people say, but he's still alive, and I love him. I once was addicted to watching his lectures on YouTube, right? So Krashen, love him. He was one of the first scholars to theorize language acquisition, even though in simple terms, but Krashen, love you, Krashen. And he talks about the comprehensible input. He says that the input we provide students, he's still alive, he's around 80 now, but he's a very nice, lovely gentleman. And remember, it is I+1. That input must be +1 plus a little bit of challenge. This challenge is the +1. So I is the comprehensible input, something students understand, +1. So it's not I +100, my dear fellow teachers. So if something is too simple, too easy for students, there's no challenge, so there's no learning besides the content. If level is too high, students won't understand either, so there will be no benefit. So remember, I+1, not I +100. Content can't be too difficult for our fellow students, our lovely students. Look at that. Luciana has just shared the link about movie segments to assess grammar. This is a very interesting blog, and be sure to access that. Okay, guys? This is reason number 1. Be sure you have the correct level. Reason number 2, warning, bam, 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 contains potentially offensive content. Continue to scroll at your own risk. So now I would like to make a pause and ask you a question. What do you consider to be potentially offensive content? What is potentially offensive content, in your opinion? Can you chat? Can you type there? Prejudice. Good idea. Religion. Yes. What else? What other kind? Slangs, perhaps. Bad words like swear words, cursing, sex, violence, sexual orientation. You're talking about gender, right? I think you mentioned pretty much everything I listed in here on this next slide. I call them minefield topics because that's what I feel they are sometimes. Minefield topics like sex, gender, race, religion, politics. we need to know our students, right? So we need to watch videos before class to see if they're offensive or not. Sometimes we want to do listening activity with our students, and please raise your hand if you've never gotten into this trouble. But I have. Sometimes you want to do a listening activity with a song, and you select a beautiful activity, you print it, and then you have the brilliant idea, oh, you know what, I think I'm not going to play the song, I'm going to play the music video, because it's modern and students love music videos nowadays. They do not listen to music, they watch music. And then you realize that the music video has potentially offensive content. The kind of content that if you work at a religious school or institution, for example, you would never want your coordinator to watch. So if that is the case, and if you realize someone has been constrained, stop it immediately, right? Do what you can not to fall into this trap, but if it happens to you, please go back. Give a step ahead. It's better be read for 2 seconds than to be yellow for the whole year, right? So do not do that. Give a step back if that happens to you, okay? So this is about checking for offensive or potentially offensive content, okay? Now, moving on to the third reason, something you have already mentioned already about accents. And more than accents, I'd like to talk about different cultures, right? So try to show different culture and perhaps different Englishes as well. Why not? We're using English in plural here because there is not even one, there's not only one English in the world nowadays, or not only two Englishes, the British and the American English. English nowadays, right? When teaching that, and David Crystal defends that all the time, that it is important for us to expose students to a variety of accents, different accents. Whenever possible, select examples of known native English speakers, like course books do nowadays. From the top of my head, I can think of Top Notch, Market Leader, all courses you might know. Speak Out, the new launch, and I have something else to show you about Speak Out later on. All of them include recordings from speakers from different places in the world. It's the idea of English as a lingua franca, English for communication, for global communication. And if the Chinese people are saying I lo lo instead of I don't know, they are being able to communicate, and that's what really matters nowadays. Of course, we as teachers will pursue the best level possible to our students, to us, ourselves, right? But that's what we're going to do. And then Mara mentions the example of Chinglish with this Chinese English, right? Someone mentioned Scotland, a place where when I've been there, I thought I did not speak English. So, oh, come on, this is English? So I do not speak this language. And then after 3 days, you get used to it, right? But there are so many Englishes in the world. There is not only one, right? So if you go there, you will do as I did. You will say good morning to people, right? Or that if you live in Edinburgh and not in Edinburgh, as we say, you will also find it interesting. So that's it. There are different accents. If a duck says quack, the other says quack, quack, quack. They're both speaking duckish, if that ever exists. Okay, so try to expose students to different accents. Also has lots of benefits, right? Mara mentioned something interesting about Australia, which is worth listening. worth reading, how difficult it might be to understand Thai English, Vietnamese English. So it might be interesting too. Okay. Moving on to point number 4, use different genres, right? Vary a lot. Do not use always the same genre. So use different kinds of movies here, horror movies, science fiction, detective stories, suspense or crime, cartoons, everything you can. And also, don't forget that you can also expose students to other kinds of listening, other genres of text, not only of movies, right? Other text genres like songs, talk shows, interviews, series. Sorry, there should be a comma in here. Trailers, movie trailers, and more, right? By the way, J.J. Wilson puts together in his book How to Teach Listening, because as we said, video in the end of the day listening. And I scanned a page of his book. I hope JJ forgives me, a great friend. He talks about the general benefits of each genre of English. If you use more television and radio news, these are the general benefits, and the linguistic features that these benefits that are generated out of those uses, like film clips that are entertaining, dynamic, dramatic, and so on and so forth, right? The genre pedagogy, right? And the list continues talking about animation, which is entertainment for kids. Oops, sorry about that. It's the apostrophe. I'll check that, Mara. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm glad you're my friends. But yes, now topic number 5, talking about not only varying the genre, but also the type of activity you do. So do not do only the same kind of activity. Same mode, same mode. Oh no, here comes the teacher with the song for us to fill the blanks again. No. Work with different kinds of activities, making predictions, listening for the main idea, listening for details. There are so many ways of doing that. Of course, Lucia, we can make this available for you, for sure. Listening for details, inferring meaning, where students guess out of the context what those things meant. We can also focus on language, on meaning, but we can also focus on language. We can have them express opinion, which is the juicy part of it, where communication takes place, where we can talk about something called 21st century skills, right? Communication. If you are teaching for content in a more clear approach, something close to bilingual education, you will want students to talk about the content of the video. It's not enough for them only to talk, right? As it is many times in the cases when we teach English as a foreign language in Language Institute. But in this case, you will want them to talk about topics as well. Besides that, last but not least, organize your stages in a logical order, right? I'm sure this is something you would do. So first of all, just to make a parenthesis here, many people are asking for the slides. I can share them with you, no problem. Just drop me a line, send me an email. This recording will be available. It will go through a short edit and then it will be published, and you'll be able to see it here by the same link you clicked to enter, right? But in terms of organizing the stages in a logical order, I divided this into 3 parts, right? The before watching, in which you generate interest. You can use reading or discussion. You can pre-teach vocabulary if you want. And then you give students a focus question. Yes, you do give them a focus question. You must give them a reason to watch. It's not only, okay guys, watch this, and then you ask them questions. They need to have the question beforehand. We usually watch things in our real lives, in the real world, which is the topic, right, of this, the theme of this webinar, teaching from the real world. We give them a reason. I'm afraid I cannot copy emails from the platform, but if you send me an email, I'll show you my email in the end of the presentation, right? I can then show you an email. Well, why not just write it here, Fernando? Don't be lazy. There you go, fernando.morais@pearson.com. Just send me an email and I'll send you the slides, okay? Besides that, okay, before watching, I know what I do. I have set focus question. Now, what do I do? While watching, you check their predictions to see if they were right. You think, pair, share. You listen again for details. So that's what you can do to have your students focus on the moment of watching, okay? And third point, last but not least, there is the after watching, in which you're going to work on language skills. Then you will fill in blanks with verbs, and you will focus on vocabulary, language in general. And then the juiciest part again, you will, at the end of everything, you will invite students again, if you haven't done yet, to think critically, to communicate. And how do they do that? By expressing their opinions. So have them talk. This is another thing Penny says, that usually when we talk, when we listen to someone, there is an expected response as well, okay? Now, to move on to a very important part, to a practical part, the first example I'd like to give you is of using an authentic news video, a video from BBC I would like to show you. By the way, I would like to, if you don't know yet, I would like to announce you this huge partnership between Pearson and BBC for producing authentic content for teaching English. And basically, what happens is there is the before watching part in which, okay, this video will talk about the funny side of news. Have students read. I agree, Mariela, this is watching, and congratulations, Pearson, for this wonderful partnership with BBC to produce authentic content for our classroom, to make it easier for us to find content to use with our students. Go clap, clap, clap. Thank you, Luciana. They are very good. Yeah, BBC, the largest television, state television channel in the world, right? And then we have them read, we have them discuss something. Then we can go to the why watching and see how it starts. There is a focus question. Look, watch the DVD and make notes on which blunder you found the funniest and you didn't find funny or you didn't understand. So we're talking about things that require them to express their opinion. This is about critical thinking, right? In this partnership between Pearson and BBC, Klebiani, she asks a question. And some of our course books and other materials, free resources, will be available in partnership with Pearson and BBC Learning, okay? So these involve opinions only. And when they watch, they have to order these things, right? These sentences here. So I'd like to show you that. Let's see if it works. I'm not sure if it will. This video by itself, it's not uploaded yet. In fact, our technical team at Disal had a hard time uploading it. But don't worry, if our technical team is still trying to upload it, if it does not work, this video specifically, there's another one I'm going to show you right now. So I'm going to move on to the second, and if that works, I will go back to the first again, right? So don't worry, we'll do that as soon as possible. So let me see if I can here. Just give me a second to try and do that, right? Let's try now. Open a video from YouTube, and apparently it is not going yet. I am really sorry. We tried to do. Thank you, Marcelo, for your help and support. Let's give it our next try. I'm sure our last try. I'm sure it is worth watching. Seems like it's going to work now, guys. Yay! You're going to see one of your funniest videos ever. So take a look.
Mark Pragnell is Managing Director of the Centre for Economic and Business Research. Mark, are you there? Oh, yeah. We've lost you.
And there'll be live coverage on the BBC of the Democratic Convention in New York in under 10 minutes. That's in about 10 minutes.
And that is all the business news for the moment. Riz.
Thank you very much, Rob. I'm back with a look at the weather, with the headlines after a look at the weather with Rob McKell.
News. Everybody's got an opinion about it. There's too much of it. It's on at the wrong time. It's too serious. It's too fluffy. It's too short. It's too tall. And most of all, it's live.
So if it starts going wrong, you're going to see it. And probably enjoy it at the same time.
But finally, my thanks to Hugh Smith of Holt and Kay Colson of Fordham Heath, Colchester, for sending me these little and large bottles with impossible nails and screws through pieces of wood to further tantalize my brain on how they did it.
The thing about rolling news is that you have to fill an awful lot of time, and things are changing around you, and you won't necessarily be that clear about, you know you've got to interview about 3 or 4 guests. The order of them might change. You're not quite sure who it's going to be.
And 24-hour rolling news has created a new category. The right interview with the wrong guest.
Managing Director of Internet at NTL, Jerry Rust, joins me now. What's gone wrong? What's gone wrong in your offer?
I'm afraid this is not what I'm talking about.
I'm afraid we obviously have the wrong guest here. That's deeply embarrassing for us.
The head of the NUT's Education Department is John Bangs. He's in our central London studio. Well, he was in our central London studio, but he seems to have disappeared, so hopefully we shall go back to him later on.
But the undisputed champion of the wrong guest division is the BBC News 24 incident involving the charming but inappropriate Guy Gomer.
What does this all mean for the industry and the growth of music online? Well, Guy Cuny is the editor of the technology website News Wireless. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Were you surprised by this verdict today?
I'm very surprised to see this verdict to come on me, because I was not expecting that.
It was an item in one of the business slots on News 24, and the business producer went downstairs to reception and said, is Guy here for BBC News? And Guy Gomer put his hand up. There were 2 guys there, but the wrong guy put his hand up first and came upstairs. And as you know, he was here for an interview, but it wasn't for an interview for News 24, it was for an interview for a job.
And you can check.
The Sun headline is Big Bluffer. We find the Beeb News show's accidental expert. Yeah.
And for a while, Guy Gomer found himself living the celebrity lifestyle. But anyway, it goes to show just how much the public love a good news blunder.
Right. So I'm sure you enjoyed the video. So just so you can see, then students would order the numbers of the things they have seen. They would select what they found was the funniest, blunder, and something they did not understand. But can you see, it's real, it's authentic material. In this partnership, I'll tell you a little bit more now. what BBC allowed Pearson to do was to access 80 years of archives they had to select the best parts to be used for teaching English. So all these things were edited and put together so that it can be used by you now, right? I'll show you how later, okay? So it's fantastic, so you can see. Now, an example of what you can do after watching, okay? This should be number 3. Then you will work on language. You will watch again and check answers. Fantastic, right? Example number 2, using an interview video. As I said, there are not only documentary style videos, but also interview videos, and I would like to share one with you now. This is part of a teacher training program Pearson did in Spain with real students. This is something we prepared for you, and this is all available online. I'll show you the address later on as well. Okay, so this is the video. Prepare to watch. It's only a short extract, but it is certainly worth
shows the
watching.
students
Okay.
the students the relevance of what they've been doing, and obviously makes things more engaging and more dynamic.
Okay, so now we're going to have a go at making our own Vox Pops videos, okay? And we're going to upload those to the class blog so everyone can share them and see them. Now, what were the 3 questions that we have to answer?
What is your favorite TV show?
Good, okay, Anna?
What is it about?
All right. Yeah.
Why did you like it?
Excellent. Okay, so we're going to do this with our mobile phones, okay? I want you to use as much of the vocabulary as you can to make it interesting, okay?
I like it because it's funny.
What's your favorite TV program? My favorite TV program is...
Apparently something did not work correctly. I did press play, but it didn't work. I will only try once again to see if that'll work now. If it doesn't work, you let me know, okay?
Okay, and there are 2 other
It is supposed to show video interviews.
Okay?
Is it working now? Yes? Okay, so you can see now. Wonderful.
What's your favourite TV series?
Yeah, I've got a few British TV series that I like. I like the one called Not Going Out. It's a like short sitcom. So there's 2 people sharing the house together. They're housemates and they got friends. It's just general life things really. They go to work, they share a house. It's quite funny, so it's nice and relaxing to watch that.
I recently been watching Wolf Hall. Wolf Hall is a TV series that depicts the Tudor era about Henry VIII, starting from Henry VIII and the numerous wives that he had in search for a son. Because, I suppose because I have studied British history of that period, the Tudor time especially.
I think my favourite TV series at the moment is House of Cards. It's an American production. It is based on a British production from some years ago, which I think was even better. But I'm watching the current one from the United States of America.
Not work for some of you, but what was shown was an interview done on the streets by BBC. with the purpose of helping you learn English as part of this partnership with Pearson. So I'll tell you what happened. People were interviewed on the streets and they were asked the question, what's your favorite TV series? And then people answered. So we're talking about authentic English. Do you remember where they were from? Remember where the interviewees were from? People who were interviewed, where were they from? Australia, Turkey, Mauritius. So you see, it's different kinds of English, and this is present in one of our other series called Wider World, which is just beautiful. It's unbelievable for teenagers. One of the most beautiful books I have ever seen in my whole life. And it features videos from BBC like this, interviews. So we won't have time to do what I intended, which was to show you how to explore the full potential of YouTube. I will tell you the story, okay? I'll guide you through it. I'll show you two of my students. This is Arthur, who is 6 years old now, and here he is 4. This is Beatriz. Arthur is 6, Bia was 6 here, and he is 8. Now, she's 8 now. They're fluent, they speak English very well, and the way I got them started speaking English was I could not get them to speak. Bia was, even though she was bilingual, she wasn't very confident. So the way I convinced her to start speaking was, I said, okay, you like those videos of unboxing presents, right? So I'm gonna get you something, and I want to film you unboxing it. And as Bia opened her little presents, and as you can see, there are 2. They got 2. They were narrating what they were watching, and I'll send you the link so you can watch later on, and you can know more about my kids. And of course, this was many years ago, but this is a great way to get your students speaking English as well. This is what is shown in this teacher training video. In the last part of it, the same students who watched that video before, later were asked to film their video.
We're gonna do this with our mobile phones, okay? I want you to use as much of the vocabulary as you can to make it interesting, okay?
I like it because it's funny.
What's your favorite TV program? My favorite TV program is Castle. What is it about? It's about a guy and a girl. The girl is police inspector and she works with him. He is a writer that works with the policewoman to get inspired to write his books.
Recording students on video or
Right, so now to conclude, I'll share you these links, and this is a little bit more about the partnership between Pearson and BBC, which produced content such as this that you have just seen. Unbelievable students getting to talk, right? So if you tell them to film themselves, use their cell phones, and then you can explore all the potentialities, all the potential of YouTube. Have them record, then have them post on YouTube. Have them watch each other videos. Have them comment, have them write, type what they have seen. This is an integrated skills lesson, right? So it will be speaking, reading, listening, and writing. So have them do that. That will be fantastic. So I would like to thank you very much for your participation. You were a very active crowd, and I loved being with you in this, which was my first Disal webinar. I hope they invite me again. They have not given up myself. These are the links for you to get these video resources, right? This video, the first video, the news one, is on that link, english.com/speakout, which is a new course book made by Pearson for teaching adults. It's the best-selling Pearson product all over the world. The most amazing course. If you go abroad to study English, chances are you are going to use Speak Out, endorsed by the British Council, adopted everywhere by lots of the most prestigious schools in the world, written by J.J. Wilson, among other people whom you might know. If you want to get these teacher training ideas, go to this other link, pearsonelt.com/catalog, and you follow that, and you will be able to watch these teacher training videos at home. There are 3 videos that Pearson recorded specially for you. Pearson saved. They don't work on the screen, but I will send you the presentation if you send me an email, okay? In case you miss something, let me guarantee here, because they don't work there, but here you can get them active. English.com/speakout. Don't forget the www before, right? English.com/speakout. And also, don't forget the wider world training, going to pearsonelt.com/wider world. Then click on training, and you will find more ideas for teacher trainers prepared for you. Now, for those who have not left yet, surprised! Surprise, surprise. Friday morning in Melbourne now, Mara. And surprise is this. Pearson wants to take you to the IATEFL or to the TESOL 2018 with the Pearson ELT Teacher Award. So, if you want to have a chance to go to the IATEFL, the largest conference in the world for English teachers, or if you want to go to TESOL in the United States, enter the link to compete. You have to make a video of yourself talking about how you can measure progress of your students. And if you win, Pearson will take 1 person out of every continent. That is 6 people to the IATEFL or to the TESOL in 2018. Please help me, guys, because last year the winner was from Argentina. Please help me get someone from Brazil to the IATEFL next year or to the TESOL, whatever you wish, with everything paid, conference, flight, and hotel. Isn't that amazing? This is the link. Thank you very much for your participation. In case you need something, here are my contacts. It was lovely to be with you. Mara from Oceania. Can you imagine if I win twice? Because if you win, I win, Mara. I will be so happy. No, not that I'm going. But if you win, I will feel so happy that I will consider myself a winner. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Loved being with you guys. And please, if you want to tune in another webinar tomorrow, Pearson webinar at 9 a.m. and 10 and 5 p.m. Please, I will be giving another webinar tomorrow in the afternoon, and my dear colleague Leandro in the morning. So please send me an email, and I'll be glad to help you. Thank you very much, and all the best.